Hello, you're watching Oathbound Secrets, and today I want to share another book. I keep buying books. Remarkable, I know. I keep buying them, and do I have time to read them all? I doubt it. But the reason I bought this book is because I saw it advertised on Facebook. Embarrassingly, yes, I do have a Facebook account. I apologise, but I live in a small seaside town. It's kind of necessary. I know I don't want to be on Facebook, but I am. And this lady keeps showing up on my feed or whatever it's called with her little videos. And I was like, damn, I love this. I love this stuff. She was making really nice videos about basically decentering men and empowering women to just live better lives and not put up with bullshit from stupid guys. And part of this these videos was a little advertisement for her book. So I had to buy it. Yeah, after enjoying so many of her videos, I was like, do you know what? Yes, I will buy your book because I don't know. What can I say? She's a dating coach, okay? She's a dating coach. And I was having some problems, some relationship problems. And I was watching her videos and I was like, yes, must take notes, boundaries, must have boundaries. And yeah, I feel like she helped a lot. Listen to this, right? Evolution, revolution, the rebirth of matriarchy. Hell yeah. Mankind has failed. Oh my God, what a statement. It is clearly time for a new format. While patriarchy has led to constant wars, destructive pollution, and unnecessary deaths, the history of matriarchy lies buried under the rubble and ashes, eager to be sparked with the fire of freedom so it can rise like a phoenix once again. Ooh, yes. I love that. I love that. The war against women has lasted far too long because it wasn't adequately acknowledged by the ones being attacked. It is time for us to enter the battle and fight back with force. But how? This book will help you understand why we need to return to our roots of matriarchal power and what tools you can use to achieve victory so that the world can not only survive but thrive once again under a leadership of logic, emotional stability, and a purpose-driven approach that ensures every future generation has equality and resources. We are ready for something better. Are you? Oh, love that. Love that. We're already off to a great start. So, and it's not too beefy of a book, so I can quite comfortably read this and not feel, that I'm trying to tackle a mountain. So, yeah. Glancing through, there is also some space in there to write notes, which is quite interesting. Yeah, that will help me actually. In the back of the book, there's kind of like little rituals, of reflection and meditation, considering things. And I thought that is actually a really lovely little bit of a workbook in the back. And then the majority of it is just a really very inspiring video. The majority of it is just really inspiring stuff that I kind of can't wait to dig into, actually. So, I'm very happy that I bought this. Well done, me. Well done. Fantastic. And while we talk about this stuff about women's empowerment and whatnot, I want to mention what is going on in Britain concerning the laws about sex and gender. Oh my gosh, what the hell is going on? I don't get it. I'll tell you what, I don't get it. Don't understand. Sometimes I feel like, I'm very much a product of the 90s. If you are someone who grew up in the 90s, then you'll be able to relate to the fact that that our education system and the kind of the things that were in the media at the time. Yeah, there was a lot of sexism, there was a lot of homophobia, there was a lot of transphobia. We didn't have a fucking clue what transgender was. Like back in the 90s, never even heard of it. I had heard of a sex change, heard of that before. Yeah, okay. And that was kind of like some strange thing on the periphery of society that you just would never come across. You would never understand what is that? What is that all about? Why are they doing that? No idea. And it took me a long time to try and learn, because I found myself at one point, maybe, how long ago was it? I don't know. Not that long ago, I don't feel. Maybe 10 years ago at the most, that I found myself being very uninformed, and I was like, shit, I need to start doing some homework on what is going on. I don't understand why this law has been created now, that the gender that you are assigned at birth. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about this, right? When you are born, you're a little baby, the doctor looks at you and just glances at your genitals and says, yep, it's a girl, and that's end of story. Basically, that's all they do. They just look at your genitals and go, yeah, mark that down, legally female, purely based on the external genitalia. That's all they do. If there is a question where they go, not sure what's going on there, then they will do some tests, and then they will look at your chromosomes, because it does happen. I think it's approximately 1% of births are something they're not quite sure about, and there are also a lot of people that might be identified at birth. Okay, external genitalia look like this, let's go ahead. And then later on in life, they find out that actually there's a different story going on. And yeah, it does happen. And it can come with some medical problems, maybe, that you might have some issues with your internal organs and your hormones and whatnot. When it comes to chromosomes, vast majority of people have no idea what their chromosomes actually are. They just kind of assume, like, yeah, okay, I've got these bits, that I must be XX or XY. Some people are some other combination, extra chromosomes, things like that exist. The two factors. Okay, one, your external genitalia, and two, your chromosomes. And then there's also another factor, like your internal organs and your hormones. Actually, there's like several factors as to how you would determine, like, biologically, sexual characteristics that make you different in some way. Okay, yeah, we all agree that that is human biology, and that's nature, and that's normal, that people will have different physical appearance and different hormone levels. Some people have more estrogen, some people have more testosterone, and it varies from person to person. Some people have a gene that suppresses hormones and will cause their puberty to be different. There's all kinds of variations in humans, and I think we need to just like embrace the fact that variety exists, and not everyone is so neatly placed in a binary system. Like, humans are not actually a binary. Like, that's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. So first of all, I don't accept the idea of a male-female binary, because I think that there's a lot of sort of grey area. But I do accept that there are sort of social factors as to how we decide when we see somebody, and we just kind of classify them in our heads. We all classify people based on what they look like. The same goes for race. People can talk about race and say, oh yes, it exists, that there are different races, because you can see, like, physically they look different and it's a different race. But biologically speaking, like, it's a social construct we have created. It's not really a biological thing. Do you understand what I mean? Like, yes, biologically, people can have different skin tones and different facial features. Like, yes, that's physically true, but the categorization is something that it can shift and change depending on what we decide. whatever we decide is feminine or masculine, like that's just like it's all in our heads. So there are biological facts of this is what somebody physically looks like, and then there are social constructs of what we decide to label that as, and the traits that we associate with those features. Okay, facts, right? Facts. But now there's this law that they've decided that if you have been legally assigned male or female when you were a little baby, and later on, you go through some process of discovering yourself, and you want to actually change that label, you want a different label, then no, basically. Legally, they're like, no, you can't. You're not allowed. You are what you are. We've decided. Even if you have had hormone therapy and you've had surgery and you've gone through like the whole process of transformation, and you look completely different. You don't have the same bits that you were born with anymore. You're socially accepted as a woman or a man or somebody who is gender non-binary, somebody who is not really either or. It exists. Some people just don't want to be put in a box, and they're just like, just accept me as a human. I'm a human being. That's cool. And sometimes you see somebody in the street and you think, I'm not really sure, who is this person? We look at people and we try to label them because we're always categorizing things in our heads, and we're verbally trying to find the right words. Oh, she, he, I don't know. And I think these sort of social rules of how we interact with each other can be culturally like different depending on what country you're from, first of all, and second of all, somebody's medical history is really none of your business. Like, you have no business to go up to somebody and be like, oh, so how are your hormone levels? What are your internal organs like? Like, that's none of your fucking business. Leave them alone. Leave people alone. And if you're going to see a doctor and you're going to go to a hospital, then obviously the doctor will look at your body and treat it for what it is. If you have certain organs, if you have certain hormones, the doctor will treat you for what you are. Okay, for you physically, like, this is what you need, and this is what kind of medicine you need, and whether you are kind of socially existing as masculine or feminine doesn't really matter to the doctor. Does not matter to the doctor. The doctor just wants to know what's up. How can I help you? Okay, bathroom laws, public toilets. Okay, if you go to a public toilet, sometimes the public toilets are gender neutral. Cool. Use whatever toilet. Who cares? You just want to go for a piss. And other times the toilets are segregated, and you go into whichever one you prefer, really. Like, come on. Like, are we really that bothered? I'm not bothered. Just have a piss. Like, it's literally just a place to relieve yourself. So who cares? It's not like we're all pissing on one great big communal toilet. Like, you have the individual stalls, you have a door that you can lock, and that's private. Like, I believe toilets should be private spaces for the individual, not sharing with the world. I don't want to piss next to somebody else. I want my own little cubicle. Thank you very much. Like, I was talking to a friend the other day about the concept of like a women's urinal. Like, why don't they just lay out a trough and we can all just perch and piss into like a trough, and it could be like a woman's urinal, like, yeah. I mean, personally, I like privacy, but sometimes, if I'm a bit drunk, maybe then I stop caring. And then I wouldn't mind sitting on a communal toilet thing. I think that's how the Romans did it, actually. Historically, the Romans used to have just like a thing, like everyone just sat there, like, didn't care, just sat next to each other. Yeah, I'm having a shit right now. Like, okay. I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm just like, no, I don't. That does not need to be shared with everyone. Please just close the door. But anyway, the thing is that the law now says that if you have your birth certificate says that you have been assigned male, but currently, you don't have those bits anymore. Like you've had that removed. You've had something altered down there, and now you have different parts. Like that doesn't matter because whatever is on the bit of paper that was legally, recorded, that you have to go to that toilet. If you were born and the doctor looked at your bits and said, yeah, it's a girl, but later in life you had some hormone therapy and all kinds of stuff. Now you've got a big beard and a great big dick. Then you have to go to the women's toilet because that's what you were assigned when you were a baby. Even if you're like a big manly man, doesn't matter. You were assigned as a baby that you were going to be a girl. Go to the women's toilet. And if you were assigned as a baby that you were a boy, but now you're like this big bosomy gorgeous woman, you need to go to the men's toilet. And like it's just like I can't imagine like how this is going to work, because how do you police that? How do you police what? Do you need to see everybody's birth certificate in order to use the toilet? Is that what people want? Like, I don't want that. I don't want somebody to come up to me and be like, I'm not sure what you had on your birth certificate. Let me see your papers. I need a piss. Leave me alone. What the fuck? Honestly, I just want unisex toilets from now on. Forget about this whole stupid idea of gender segregated toilets. Please, that would solve all of the problems. And the same with schools. I'm someone who went to a girls' school. I just think actually I wanted to be in a mixed school because I was attracted to boys and I wanted a boyfriend. I didn't want to go to a girls' school. And I think, that's the only reason that they created gender segregated schools was to stop people from, flirting with each other, and they wanted to prevent teenage pregnancy. Basically, that's the reason, isn't it? That's the reason, let's be honest. And then it's like when I was in school, it was the 90s, and the idea of being a homosexual was just completely unheard of. It was just, I remember one of my friends in school just being like, oh, I need to tell you a secret. Oh my gosh, a big secret. Yeah. Oh, don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. Oh, I need to tell you. My cousin is gay. And me as a kid, I was just like, oh, is that's the big secret, is it? All right. Okay. I thought it was going to be something juicy. Boring. But I still remember that moment. Because it's just like my brain was just like, what the fuck? What is going on? That this should be a big secret. That's really sad, isn't it? And now that girls' school that I attended is probably full of lesbians having the best time of their lives, so good for them. And I think that people will like gradually adjust the more that they learn and understand like sex, biology, gender. The more that they will just get over the whole sort of thing, because, you know, back in my day, it was all about homophobia. Like, oh my God, there was so much homophobia in the 90s. And gradually people became more accepting and it was okay. And it was actually like, why do we care? Why? Why does that matter? And at some point, we're going to do the same thing with transgender, where we're just going to say, like, who cares? If you want to dress a certain way, if you want to have some kind of surgery, like people have Botox and fillers and breast implants and all kinds of stuff. Like, I'm not saying it's necessarily a good thing to do all that stuff to your body, but you know, it's your choice at the end of the day. I don't think people should be like pressured to conform to a certain physical appearance. But at the end of the day, it's your body. You do what you want. The only thing, like, I do care that girls in particular are under a lot of pressure to look a certain way, and the fact that a lot of girls these days are going out getting all these like lip fillers and stuff, and that does make me concerned, because I'm like, sweetheart, you're already beautiful, you don't need to do all this. Like, please stay away from the woman with the needles. Like, please don't do that to your face. You're going to mess your face up. Like, please. So, yeah, I do care when it comes to somebody's well-being. There's a lot of people giving injections of Botox and fillers that don't really know what they're doing. That scares me. That scares me a lot. And the thought of people having sort of, you know, boob jobs and BBLs and stuff in some grimy alley from somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing, that worries me a lot. That worries me a lot. So I think all of these things should be available from professionals who know what they're doing, and it shouldn't be criminalized in any way. You know, people shouldn't be forced to find some illegal way of doing it, when, you know, they can go to a legitimate doctor who can do whatever it is that you want to have done. So yeah, that's what I think about the whole sort of cosmetic surgery and stuff like that. I'm generally, I feel like there's a little bit too much pressure on people to appear a certain way. And here I am with a fucking full face of makeup, you know. Yes, I have succumbed to the pressure. But also, like, this is how I want to look. I think I look cute. And I think everyone should be able to make their own choices as to how they present themselves, you know? That's your choice. That was my choice to get this little stupid little tattoo, you know? That was my choice. So that's how I feel about the whole trans issue. I just think, why is this even an issue? Why? So yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments down there, and I'm going to go and read this lovely book. So see you later. Bye bye.